Alright, so if I've had the iPhone 15 Pro Max for the past 3 months now after upgrading from my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and the phone has been great for me so far. Now there's been a lot of great upgrades for this phone, but today I want to tell you the top 5 features of this phone and whether or not it's really worth it to buy it right now during the holiday season. So let's get straight into it. Alright, so the first feature is going to be the build of the phone. Now with the iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro, the corners are a little bit rounded off, similar to how the iPhone 11 was, but not as drastically round as the iPhone 11 and previous models of the iPhone. It's kind of a hybrid between the 12 to the 14 models combined with the 11 and previous models. Even though it doesn't seem by much, these rounded edges do actually make a big difference when you're holding the phone, and it makes it way more comfortable to hold. And then also about the build, the screen size is actually the same size as the iPhone 14 Pros, but the bezels have been shrunken to about 1mm diagonally. Now another big thing about the iPhone 15 Pro is that it's going to be in a brushed titanium frame, which means it won't be the stainless steel that we've seen previously, and it also means that it won't be getting a lot of fingerprints. Another thing to add about the titanium is that it makes the phone much lighter. It's technically only 10% lighter, but when you do pick up the two phones, you'll definitely feel a difference. Now with the titanium frame, there are a bit of downsides, and the first thing I'll tell you is that it is more scratch proof if you don't get the natural titanium colorway. Also with the titanium, the whole phone is not going to be in titanium, only the edges, so this means that the back is still glass and can break a little bit easier. But don't worry, Apple says that it is technically easier to repair the iPhone 15 Pros, but we don't know if this means that it's going to be breaking more often. Now the second feature that I really liked about the iPhone 15 Pro is obviously going to be the USB-C port. So Apple, when they announced the iPhone 15 Pro, they kind of marketed the USB-C as one cable for everything, and now you just have to use USB-C for all your Apple products. This was their biggest point, but when we think of USB-C, we think about faster charging. Now with the iPhone 15 Pro, it's still going to be the same charging speeds as the previous years of models, but the thing to note is that the transfer speeds are upgraded on the iPhone 15 Pros. Because of the USB-C, we get USB 3.0 transfer speeds, and this makes it really easy to get files off of your phone to your laptop or even your computer. And then another thing to note is that you can use the USB-C port and plug it into a monitor, and you'll be able to actually mirror your screen from your iPhone to the monitor. Now this is all really good information on the USB-C, but Apple did ship the phones with a USB 2.0 cable, which means that you're not going to get those very fast transfer speeds, but honestly any phone comes with just the regular USB 2.0, so you might want to look for another cable. And then the third feature about the iPhone 15 Pro, which is just outstanding, is going to be the camera. Now the iPhone 15 Pros are going to be able to take up to 48 megapixel photos in the ProRes Max. And then even without this feature on, the photos that come out of the iPhone 15 Pros are going to be 24 megapixels, which is way better than the 12 megapixels from previous years. But you might be wondering, what do the megapixels even do for the photos? So this means that when you're zooming in all the way, you'll have more detail as well as a better contrast. And then within the camera itself, you basically get 7 camera lenses in one. On this phone, you can get a macro lens, you can get a 13mm lens, a 24mm lens, as well as 28, 35, and 120mm. Now the 5x camera is really nice to have, but it seems like it's going to be used in a bunch of specific situations where maybe you're at a concert or somewhere you need to take a photo of a far distance. And then something to note about the 5x zoom is that once you go past that 5x, the quality is going to really rapidly decrease as you zoom in. But more than the photo capabilities, the iPhone 15 Pro might have one of the best video cameras on any smartphone in 2023. This kind of goes for both photo and video, but when you're all the way zoomed in, you'll have a really good image stabilization, and the iPhone actually can detect what you want to take a picture of, so it will focus on that point. But now going back to the video capabilities of the iPhone 15 Pro, it can actually shoot in ProRes log, which is another format of video, And this format log is used in a bunch of really high-end cameras, so now your iPhone can be compared to any big camera on the market. The only downside with ProRes log is that the file sizes are absolutely huge, and you might want to use an external SSD just to record in log. Now the only downside I could tell from the iPhone 15 Pro camera is that there is still that haloing effect when you are recording a very harsh light, so you'll still get that in your video. And then the fourth feature about the iPhone 15 Pro is going to be the A17 Pro chip inside of it. So first off, this is the first time that Apple is using the word Pro in any of their chips for their iPhones. Previously, they've been just calling it the Bionic chip, but now it's called the Pro. And then what makes the A17 Pro really unique is that it's going to be the first 3nm chip in any phone ever created. And then according to Apple, the CPU is going to be about 10% faster than the previous model. The neural engine is going to be 2 times faster, and then on top of that, the 6-core GPU is going to be a 20% boost in performance. But when we think about this A17 Pro, we got to keep in mind, is this really what we need? Do we need to have the top of the line chip to browse on Safari or YouTube or anything else on your phone? But to bring it to its potential, you need to take into account, are you going to be using your phone as a pro? Are you going to be using it for photo editing, I don't know, maybe video editing, or even gaming? And this is the first time Apple has actually focused on gaming for an iPhone. Just look at the capture that they had on their presentation for the new video games on the iPhone 15 Pro. And to keep in mind, these are actually not even downscaled versions for the iPhone 15. These are full console versions of the game. And then a place where we can see the A17 Pro being used in everyday life is when we're taking photos. So now the iPhone 15 Pro can recognize objects way easier. So you don't even have to go into portrait mode to take a portrait photo. You can just go into the settings and turn on portrait mode when it detects the object. And then another everyday task that we could see for the Pro users is going to be the transfer speeds. So the A17 Pro is what allows the iPhone 15 to have those USB 3.0 speeds. And then the last feature for the iPhone 15 Pro is going to be the action button. Now I think to myself, for the 3 months that I've had this phone, how many times do I actually use the action button? Is it really helping me in everyday tasks? And I'll say it does help, but you can really easily forget about it. Now on default settings, it comes as the ringer and the silent mode switch, but honestly you could use this for anything. I've seen people use it to unlock their cars, open apps, or even do specific tasks inside of an app. So if you want to see some tutorials on how to use the action button, leave a like on this video and let me know in the comments. Now the great question of whether or not the iPhone 15 Pro is right for you. Now it really does come down to whether or not you're going to be that pro user which uses all the features of the iPhone 15 Pro. Now personally, I think the transfer speeds as well as the camera quality are the best things about this phone, but do you really need all those pro features, or could you go with the iPhone 15 regular version? Now if you're just going to use this as a normal phone and you don't need those pro features, definitely go with the iPhone 15 instead of the Pro models. Now the iPhone 15 is still going to be a really good phone for most people. It still has that USB-C, it has a really good camera, and it has a chip from last year's Pro models. Now if you're looking for a specific phone to upgrade from, I would say that going from the 12 to the 15 lineup is the biggest change for you. After that 3-year mark, your phone is going to be the most valuable it can be before it drops drastically the next year when the iPhone 16 comes out. This is usually because phone carriers give great deals at the 3-year mark, and a lot of them are around 24 to 36 month contracts. But that's going to wrap up this video about the iPhone 15 Pro, so let me know if you guys think that it's worthy of the upgrade, or if it's really not that great and you're going to wait till next year's model. So leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.